So welcome back to another edition of Off the Shelf, where each and every week we are reviewing a bunch of comics. I just want to start off by mentioning that the next 2 weeks we're not going to be having videos like any of the reviews up. I'm going to be in Calgary next week for the Calgary Comic Expo that they have down there. And then the following week is going to be Free Comic Book Day, and I will be taking part in some festivities at my local comic book shop, Happy Harbor Comics. And so I'll be there on Free Comic Book Day. So I'm not going to have a video up for those 2 weeks. So I do want to mention that we try to keep these reviews as spoiler-free as possible and kid-friendly. So with all of that out of the way, we're just going to get going with this. Alright, so this review is for Justice League number 19. So we get another one of those gatefold covers on this one, and this time it says, "Who's killing Superman? Batman?" Really? So needless to say, this one is kind of a little bit misleading. I'm not going to go into too much detail on why that's a little bit misleading, but at the same time, it kind of is. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. So right at the start, we get this nice little scene with Jason and Alfred. They're talking a little bit back and forth about, you know, the death of Damian and the whole thing that's going on in the Bat series. And it's kind of nice to see that, you know, some of that is leaking over into the Justice League here. Batman is a big part of this, so it's good to see that kind of play a part in this as well. We start off with a mystery. Who's capable of breaking into the Batcave? Manhunter. Who knows? Anyways. Sorry, excuse me. That's weird. There is a part here with Firestorm and Atom. Really, in the end, it kind of makes the Justice League look a little bit like douchey, to put it nicely. They don't really seem to be all that concerned about those two right now. So, to me, you know, you try to see about trying to include them into the group. Right now, it just seems like they're pushing them away by kind of ignoring them. The art in this book just kind of feels a little bit strange for me. I'm not quite used to the artist for this. I like the interiors better than this cover. The cover, everything just seems really flat to me, and I didn't really like that. Some parts in the book kind of fell flat for me as well. But as a whole, it was alright. Like, the interiors were okay for the most part, but it's still just not my thing. I kind of like the way that it was drawn before. The backup for this book is with Shazam. Not really my favorite book. It's really slow, and it's mainly because it's just a backup and we're just getting little bits here and there, and it's just... seems like it's dragging on and on and on and on. They do kind of have a moment where they match up with what's going on in the Justice League. Not match up, so to say, but the mentioning of a place in the books kind of linked together. I'm assuming this is just for the Trinity War that's going to be happening here in the next little bit. Once this storyline is kind of finished up, they're just going to move into that Trinity War, and this is probably more of just a setup for that as well. So it's something to look at, I guess. The art in the backup is not really all that much of my favorite. It never really has been, but it is nice to get the difference between the two books. So it feels like you're reading two different books as well. So overall, we get a good story here. The characters really play out. They sound like they should, which is a huge thing for me. A lot of times you get these generic characters and they all sound the same, just coming from a different person, that's all. But in this book, at least the characters act like they should act. There is one point during this book that just kind of looks like it was just thrown into here just to create some sort of conflict with the greater edge of like the universe. I just didn't feel it. I can see why it happened, but I think it was more of a, hey, let's try and get this in here just so that we can push this other story along as well. So it was kind of a strange thing for me, a little bit weird for a storytelling choice, but hey, it sort of works in this book. The art's not terrible, but it's just not what I'm used to, and the cover is really terrible. I do have to say that. I hate this cover. It's just flat. It's just, I don't know. Something about the cover itself just really just bothers me. But overall, I'm still going to give this book a 4 out of 5. I still enjoyed it. I still had a good time reading it. That's pretty much it. So that was for Justice League number 19. So that's it for this week. Go check out the other comics I got going on right there. Remember, for the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to have any reviews up. So, and that's because of the Calgary Expo and because of Free Comic Book Day. Remember, May 4th is Free Comic Book Day. Go check out your local comic book stores for your free comics, and make sure you get those because it's always a good time. So let's get that out of the way. Thank you guys again for watching. Remember to leave your comments down below. Subscribe to my channel. And that's it. That's all. And I'll see you guys on the next one.